After Alexander Volkanovski's historic performance at UFC 314, in which he reclaimed his featherweight title in spectacular fashion, Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo talked about the featherweight division's future. Since Yair Rodriguez had just defeated Patricia Pitbull, the conversation soon shifted to what would happen next. Some started suggesting a rematch between Yair and Volkanovski, but let's face it, that fight already took place, and it wasn't even close. Almost all of it was under Volkanovski's control, and a second attempt doesn't exact must-see. Movsar Evloev, far more sensible next step. Be in a rush to purchase tickets for an Evloev title run now. He may not always win people over with his stifling and grinding tactics, but the reality remains lost. In terms of meritocracy, defeated elite fighter Arnold Allen, former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling. Whether you or not, they have strong portfolio. El Pantar the same as Movsar. A more appropriate course of action was proposed with Henry and Usman, result with Diego Lopez. Ranking fight.
I do believe that more likely they're probably going to give him Evloev to Alexander Volkanovski, and then for Diego Lopez, man, the fight that needs to be given for the two people that fought in the main event is it's logical. Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez, UFC Noche in Mexico, in Guadalajara. I mean, that's a beef that they had at the press conference. I mean, Yair was saying that Lopez is not a Mexican, like he's just out there for likes.
I agree with you, Henry. I think the next logical step in at least giving Yair a move up, and Lopez, yes, he was kind of fast-tracked there, but he did the work. He did the work to get there, to be fast-tracked there. But you haven't fought Yair Rodriguez, and there's a couple of guys in that division that you know that you could now pick to fight. I would go. You're right. I would go Lopez and Yair Rodriguez for who's the king of Mexico.
In spite of the injuries he sustained in his battle with Diego Lopez, Volkanovski says he's delighted his chin was put to the test. In a battle that lived up to the anticipation, the Australian champion was pleased with his performance and proud of his comeback narrative after everything he had been through was not too long ago. Following consecutive knockout defeats to Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, Volkanovski was being written off. When the pressure was on and Volkanovski had his back against the wall, he reminded everyone precisely who he is. People had doubts about his resilience, his mentality, and even his future in the sport. Not only did he come back, but he did so in typical Volkanovski fashion, with a lot of speed, impeccable timing, and unadulterated grit. Vog embraced the pandemonium, persevered through hell, and made it his style of battle when Diego Lopez entered with all the fury and momentum. This victory was more than just a title. It was a declaration that the monarch was still alive. Do you believe Rodriguez?
Obviously I was landing nice clean jabs and some big shots, but some big shots would come back firing at me. So yeah, fun fight for the fans, for everyone enjoyed it, fight of the night. So that's good. I think I'm pretty happy that I still was able to get hit. And if I went out there and didn't get hit and didn't get my sort of chin tested, you know, just you get a lot more out of it, right? Like that's a lot of questions going in for everybody. And myself, you know, you're going to go in there and be like, all right, are you going to go lights out again as soon as you get touched? And you know, that wasn't the case. So it was good to go have a bit of a war, go through a bit of adversity in there and bounce back. You know, you all know that I don't shy away from adversity. That fight had a bit of it in there. But again, credit to Lopez, incredible fighter. Takedown defense was good, like got him down early.
In his gym, Jon Jones encounters an unforeseen problem. Leonid Grachev, a Russian professional heavyweight boxer and one of his primary sparring partners, disclosed that Jon expelled him from his squad and camp. For years, Leonid had been an integral part of Jon's boxing preparation, and he was actively involved in his most recent training sessions with Stipe and Cyril Gane. But in a recent interview with a Russian station, Leonid disclosed that Jon kicked him out of the gym and broke off their collaboration. After Leonid trained with Aspinall as part of Jon's continued preparations, the repercussions occurred. The decision that started the fight was Leonid's decision to go to Tom's camp and train alongside him. Despite their tight friendship, Jon quickly broke off all business and personal contacts with Leonid after viewing his decision as a betrayal. Now, Leonida admits that the event has ended their collaboration. Leonid said, quote, "I recently Went to the UK to get up with some of my former coaches and get some practice in. Everything went according to plan during our 3 weekly sparring sessions. I told Jon where I was going before I left, and he was fine with me leaving his camp for a little while. One of my coaches recommended that I go to Liverpool to train with Tom, who was coached by his friend, while I was hanging out with pals. I acknowledged but made it clear that in order to prevent Tom's crew from believing I was spying, they should be aware that I was training with Jon. I also gave Jon a call to let him know and ask if he was okay with it. "All right," he said. "Do whatever you want, no issue. Tell me how it goes, please." Tom and I sparred and trained together, but I kept Jon's secrets to myself. Brandon Gibson, however, called me the next day to let me know that Jon was not happy with my choice to train with Aspinall and no longer wanted to see me at the gym. Jon didn't answer when I tried to reach him. I sent him a text, but it had the same effect. I suppose it's finished because I discovered later that he had unfollowed me on Instagram. Finish the quote. During UFC 314 backstage, Colby Covington talked candidly about his previous altercation with Paddy Pimblett. The conflict adds another level of complexity to the story of Colby's recurrent feuds with opponents, fans, and even teammates. However, despite the ongoing intrigue, his fighting career has entered a peculiar phase, following a contentious doctor stoppage defeat to Joaquin Buckley. It's difficult to ignore how much of KBY's attention seems to be outside the cage these days, especially given his extensive involvement in politics and media appearances. He didn't look like the fighter who once pushed Kamaru Usman to the limit in back-to-back battles against Buckley. Instead, he was hesitant, flat-footed, and appeared much more interested in surviving than trying to win. Even if Colby still acts like he's aiming for another title, the welterweight scene is becoming more competitive at 36.
One little scuffle backstage, you know, Paddy wanted to say some shit when I was walking by, so I had to confront him. I had to let him know he's a little bitch boy. The combined losing streak of his last 3 opponents, look it up, guys, it's 13 losses in a row. He wants to act like he's relevant and he's a star. He's a fucking nobody, bro. You're a nobody. You've never headlined an event. You've never done anything worthy. You've never been a top contender. You're a fucking scrub. The only reason fucking people care about you because you're an Ellen DeGeneres looking fucking scrub. And to be honest, it's because you got a bowl cut and an English accent. That's the only reason people want to look at you. So, you know, Paddy Pimblett's a little bitch. He needs to stop running my name through his mouth. Just stay relevant, because he's just using me to stay relevant, because he's never accomplished anything. He's never going to get to a title fight. He's never going to win a title, period. He's a fucking irrelevant bum. So when he starts cutting all that weight and cutting chromosomes, and he wants to come to a real man's weight class and fight a real man, he can get his ass whooped. So he needs to keep my name out of his mouth, otherwise he's going to end up with my foot in his ass.